I love video games. I love them so much that I play them frequently. That's not good writing. On one fateful day 9 years ago, I was given a laptop of my very own for my birthday, and in the coming hours I came to know what would soon become one of, if not my favorite game of all time. I know you don't need me to tell you what it is, but you might need me to call you a bozo brain for not playing it right now. See, we live in a world where everybody knows Team Fortress 2, its undying presence in online culture has ensured that. But unfortunately it's difficult nowadays to randomly meet someone off the street who has more than 2 hours in the game. Back in the day, it was government mandated that every Steam account have at least 100 hours clocked in. So, as I share my story for how I came to love this game and explain how that sentiment has endured for so many years, I'm hoping to encourage a lot of you to hop on with me, whether you've never played a round of Badwater in your life, or you're just sitting around waiting for the next major update. You know, I wrote that line in the beginning of July, and it's kind of weird because it technically aged both poorly and gracefully. And before you ask, yes, I did specifically wait to make this video until now, just so I could say that it's had 9 years worth of development. Hopefully it'll have been worth the wait. So I, like most people, was introduced to the series through the Meet the Team videos. My brother got into the game a year before I did, and one day while we were walking our dogs, he, oh god. I just realized I've had my dogs for longer than I've been playing Team Fortress 2. They are so old now. In case you're wondering, this is Ace and Jake. I named this one Jake because I was super obsessed with Adventure Time when I was a kid, but back to video games. I remember him showing me Meet the Demo Man, Meet the Engineer, and Meet the Spy. I did not understand like half the things they were saying because I was a dumb baby, but nevertheless, these shorts captured my imagination and I wanted to see more. Here was this bizarre world that combined the whimsical charm of some 3D Disney movie with the gruesome violence of your average shooter, all tied together by some really witty dark humor. The characters themselves are ingeniously designed. You can tell everything you need to know about them just from a glance. This guy is a doctor who looks off his rocker. This is a big man with a big gun who's probably a little slow but is super lovable. And this guy looks like a dumbass. Their clothing and body proportions were intentionally designed to stand out from each other while also remaining within the same appealing art style. And beyond all of that, my god, are they charming and entertaining. This clip from Meet the Demo Man is still one of the funniest jokes I have ever heard in a video before. Never has a censor bleep been so funny.
They gotta make it out. I'm a black Scottish Cyclops. They got more and they got the likes of me.
Now I know what you're thinking. This is a character I want to spend 1,000 hours playing as. If you haven't seen them before, these videos are a fantastic gateway into the game. And if you're starving for more content after you've seen them, Expiration Day and the Tf2 comic are waiting in the wings. They've got way more lore, super engaging storylines, and a lot of great humor. And if you don't like reading, there's a really great dub of the comic available right here on YouTube. I cannot wait for you all to be just as pissed off as I am that we will never get that final issue. Anyways, when I first installed the game, I hopped into a match of CTF well. I picked Pyro because he wore a gas mask and I was a Call of Duty kid who thought that was cool. Yeah, I realized that a lot of the stories I'm going to tell today are going to open myself up for some much deserved internet bullying. And that's fine, I'm a big boy, I can take it. But yeah, if you guys are gonna be that mean, the least you could do is throw a couple dollars my way. These bits just keep getting stupider. But anyways, as the gates opened at the start of every game, the never-ending onslaught of bombs and bullets scared me away each time. I sucked ass, as to be expected, so a lot of my early hours in the game were spent seeking refuge in the community servers. If you've played a Source Engine game before, you know what these are. Basically, any game mode you can play in Gary's mod is available here. You just join the server, download the necessary files, and you're all set. Jailbreak was probably the game mode that I played the most, and I don't know. Maybe as a new player, it was comforting to play a game where I was told exactly what to do at all times and always had at least some chance of competing. But now I'm a grown-ass man who is at least somewhat competent at this game, and I say this is boring. Half of the minigames are awful. Most players do terrible jobs as the warden because 9 times out of 10, the player who gets it doesn't want to do it. And there is so much unnecessary filler here. You don't just start each day being like, "Oh dude, let's go play Death Run. Oh hell yeah dog, let's go." No, it's more like this. Okay, Reds, when cell doors open, please stand on your beds for 30 seconds longer than you probably should be, and then crouch walk as slowly as humanly possible to the yellow line. Then wait an extra minute and 30 seconds for us to go kill the one jackass who ran away, and then after that we can go play the quiz show minigame, because I don't want you guys to have any fun today. Yeah, I loved it as a kid, but nowadays I have no idea what I saw in it. What else? I remember playing Slender, or more so, I remember downloading like 10 gigabytes worth of files on really slow internet in order to play Slender, and you know, it's Slender. Death Run is always a good time, especially in TF2 where you can use taunts while you're waiting for someone to go risk their lives for the sake of the team. If you haven't treated yourself to a few rounds of Safety First, my personal favorite Death Run map, you are missing out. It's actually insane how high quality it is. I occasionally dabbled in ×10 modes and versus Saxton Hale, but wouldn't ever stay for more than an hour or so. I remember having a lot of fun with any map that had Roll the Dice enabled, and always ignored the Give Me All command out of some sense of pride for doing everything in the game legitimately. And then just a few months ago I walked all of that back because I was on a Mario Kart server with my friend and I saw a prompt advertising the Give Me All command. I thought, psh, no way in hell that shit still works. Oh. Well, looks like I have the director's vision taunt now. Now, some of you might have just heard the words Mario Kart map and thrown your eyebrows up at me. What do I mean by that? Well, the ability to create custom maps means that the community's options are virtually limitless. For example, the community maps that I spend the most time in and still do to this day are the Pokemon ones. Beautiful recreations of these iconic cities from my childhood in a game that has absolutely nothing to do with them. They're my favorite hangout spots for when it's late at night and I just want to relax with my friends for a while. There's something extremely peaceful and comforting about running around, having duels, or spending an hour trying to hit my friend out of the air with the Eyelander as we're like both moving at Mach 10.
Oh, you can't get me out of here. Cops licking at you.
Whoa! I got it! You got it! I got it! Now, the fact that you can even do something like this in TF2 might come as a shock to some of you newcomers, and good. Chase that feeling and download this damn video game already. Speaking of video game, I've written 2 pages of script for a video about this video game without talking about the gameplay of said video game. And that just won't do. The last thing I want is for someone to walk up to me at the grocery store and say this: "Hey man, I saw your Team Fortress 2 video and I really enjoyed it. I'm just curious though, did you even play the fucking game?" As of writing, I've invested 1,255 hours worth of playtime into Team Fortress 2. And having done so, I can confidently say that it is one of the most well-designed video games I have ever played. Everything that it tries to do, it excels at, and it even achieves some things that no other video game ever has before, in my opinion. TF2's multiplayer is the most brilliant mix of casual and competitive gameplay out there. You can be the one-man army who single-handedly stomps the entire enemy team if you're skilled enough. And you can do that while a new player on your team who just installed the game goes 3-29. The way the maps are designed, always giving players multiple pathways to take to either focus the objective or seek individual engagements. The way each class is designed to have specialized skills that can do a ton of damage if used properly. The large player counts that lift the individual burden on each player to perform well significantly. All of this contributes to both of these hypothetical players being able to coexist and have fun in the same game, and I think that's really special. And about those classes, they are all fun to play. Scout's fast movement, double jump, quick capture rate, and high burst damage make him the quintessential glass cannon. Good movement is key for avoiding shots, but the true challenge comes from hitting your target while you're flailing around like a lunatic. Soldier is your classic Quake-style rocket launcher guy. Aim for the feet, and make good use of the Source engine, my beloved, to fly through the air. Honestly speaking, I could have spent all 1,255 hours I have on this game just learning how to rocket jump, and I still wouldn't have mastered it by now. That is insane. But thankfully, you just need to be slightly competent at it for it to be extremely useful, not to mention really fun and rewarding. Pyro is the flamethrower guy, whose utility comes from countering aspects of the game that could spell doom for your team. Spies, explosives, and overcharge. Piss flames at people all you want, and go nuts with his secondary weapons because they're all super fun. But don't forget about your team, and definitely don't neglect Air Blast. Probably one of the most genius additions to any class in this game. Demo Man is similar to Soldier in the sense that they're both really good and can handle themselves well in most situations. He does, however, have a much higher skill floor because of how unconventional his weapons are. So in my experience, most new players often shy away from him. Don't. Yes, landing pipes is hard. And yes, as powerful as the sticky bomb launcher is, it does take some getting used to, I'm so sorry. But practice lining up shots with the grenade launcher and keeping at a safe distance with stickies, and I assure you, you will discover one of the most fun ways to play this game. I think nowadays, even though I still consider myself a pyro main because that's what I know, Demo has quickly become my favorite class to play. Heavy is a big boy, and I love him. Getting good at him involves being able to perfectly track your opponent's movements and keep bullets flying their way, as well as having the situational awareness to know when to engage and when you're in mortal danger. One thing you should be noticing, which I absolutely adore, is each class demands that you become proficient at something different. There is no one size fits all. If you're good at pyro, you're not going to automatically be good at soldier or engineer. Speaking of which, engineer is so damn complicated. I don't know how to sum him up briefly. Honestly, I just run mini sentries in the Frontier Justice nowadays because I can't stand losing a level 3 and having to start over, but that's just me. Don't neglect your teleporters and dispensers, your team will thank you. Sniper is just the good old-fashioned art of clicking on people's heads to unalive them. Get good at that, and everyone you meet in-game will hate you forever for it. But don't pay them any mind. Wear your skill with pride, you piece of shit. Remove Sniper from the game. Yeah, so one thing that's worth mentioning, I've been painting this really pretty picture of Tf2, but let's not forget that it's a multiplayer shooter. You will get frustrated and angry with the game at times. It's just how these things work, and that's okay. Medic is cool because he will change the entire way you view this game. Now instead of fighting people, you have to keep yourself and your entire team alive while being the highest priority target for the other team to murder. Good evasion, good awareness, and even some advanced stuff like rocket surfing will serve you well. Spy is a super fun, super creative class that incorporates stealth into a multiplayer shooter like no game ever has before. I love this class, but I am terrible at him. Thankfully, I have a few friends who are really good at playing Spy, so I messaged one of them asking how to get better at playing him, and they just sent back these two gifs. One is of a guy driving up to a mansion, and the other is him presumably showing off said mansion. So, step 1 of learning how to play Spy, acquire wealth. Another thing to keep in mind is that while all of these classes are brilliant in a vacuum, they're even better when combined together. Plus, they're the same lovable characters whose promotional videos probably convinced you to play the game in the first place. Here's a quick thought experiment. Think of some multiplayer FPS games that still have a large audience today that have talkative player characters. Okay, now name one game where you didn't want to immediately mute voice lines the second they open their mouths. Tf2 dialogue is not only tolerable, it's enjoyable. Oftentimes, the things they say will make you laugh, and you'll start quoting them in public to the mild discomfort of everyone you meet. Also, all of this is without even mentioning that there are hundreds of unlockable weapons that completely change the way a class is played. Don't buy them from the store though, that's a scam. I did it, I still have that degreaser and backburner in my inventory to this day, they are my badges of shame. Now, while I have played a lot of shooters in the past, I've never been a really good judge of game modes and map design. I've always wondered how people can look at a map and be like, okay, this could be a little bit better, I think some extra cover would go a long way over here, and I was actually thinking a different game mode would suit this map well. The deepest I go is, I like this, and I don't like this. Like, I'm not so stupid that I can't explain to you why Capture the Flag doesn't work outside of casual deathmatch servers, but if you were to come up to me and say, I want to have a serious conversation about the pros and cons of Viaduct as a King of the Hill map, I would respond by faking a phone call and saying this. Oh my god, Stacy, today was your fucking birthday? I had absolutely no idea. Oh, don't worry, I'll be right over and make no detours. Yep, see you then. Yeah, so, sorry bro, something important came up. Bottom line, there are like 100 official maps in the game and billions of custom ones. So if you can't find something you like, you probably hate video games and I don't know why you're watching this. If you're looking for game mode recommendations, King of the Hill, Payload, Attack, Defend, and Control Points are what I usually keep on while playing normally. If you're looking to just goof off and not have to deal with an objective, go for Capture the Flag or click on High Tower under Payload Race. Medieval mode is pretty fun, and keep your eyes peeled for limited time holiday events. Halloween is the biggest one, with Christmas following shortly after. And for the love of God, whatever you do, avoid pastime, not like there's anyone playing it. It is the critically acclaimed game mode created by everyone's favorite Star Wars director, J.J. Abrams, who, in case you didn't know, is not a game designer. Speaking of game, there's a whole other game inside of this game. Well, there's like 10 games in this game, but this is one of the biggest games within this game. Man vs. Machine is one of the greatest co-op shooters ever created. I've put a considerable amount of time into all of the usual suspects. Payday 2, Call of Duty Zombies, Left 4 Dead 2, Halo Firefight, and I think that MVM more than deserves to stand among them. You remember when Overwatch 2 got teased and everybody got really excited for being able to customize their characters and make them do stuff that they couldn't do before? Yeah, Tf2 has let people do that for 11 years. Going nuts with the airstrike, shutting down entire waves with the Scottish Resistance, obliterating a tank with the Phlogistonator, or running at the speed of light through gunfire to collect cash off the ground is the kind of stuff that MVM players live for. And loot, but that's neither here nor there. You can play it for free all you want, but if you want drops, you're gonna have to pony up some cash. Me personally, I've done about 13 Two Cities tours and 3 expert mode ones after watching this fantastic video here. Oh, what's that? You wanna know if I got anything to show for it? Nah, not me, but you know, big congratulations to all the people with 1 or 2 tours who got an Australium or God forbid a golden frying pan. You really earned that, champ. Good job. If you're new and you want to try MVM, you should know that while it's not as bad as it was before, the community is still pretty unforgiving when it comes to new players who don't know what they're doing. Do a little research on your role, listen if anybody tries to give you any friendly advice, and if you do end up getting yelled at or kicked by someone, don't let it get you down. You're learning, and you aren't stupid, far from it. This is a good opportunity to talk about the community. For better and for worse, I've never felt more a part of a community for a game than with Team Fortress 2. A lot of that is by design. This game encourages social interaction through text and voice chat, as well as group taunts, trading, and the fact that it's advantageous to work together if you want to win. And need I remind you, it is still a perfect hangout and chill game.
What happens if you put something that magnetizes to things, and you put like 4 magnets equidistant from it in like a square pattern?
You die.
Does it just like... You die!
Simply perish.
It's also one of the few games nowadays that lets you stay in a lobby after a match so you can keep playing with the same people. Plus, like any good social game, you're given plenty of opportunities to express yourself through... Everyone knows about the hats, the taunts, the war paints, the name tags, all that jazz. But believe me when I tell you every aspect of this game can be tailor-made to your liking. For example, you might have noticed that my HUD looks a lot different than the default one, and that will be because that is correct. I probably should have rewritten that. Anyways, you should tweak this game quite a bit because the settings that it loads up with are horribly outdated. At the very least, up the resolution, turn on auto reload, fast weapon switch, and the developer console. Type FOV_desired 90 into said console or lower that number in case you don't want to have as much visual information on screen as possible at all times for some reason. And if you don't like your gun taking up 50% of your screen, that's what view model min mode is for. Once you get a feel for the game, check out the rest of the options and mess with your keybinds. If you have some kind of problem with the default HUD, guess what? You can change it. Also, set a kill bind. That probably doesn't sound important, but that's how like 99% of your interactions with other players end. If you want to get deep into the economy of the game and trade actively, more power to you. It is absolutely not necessary to play the game, and I love that. The only hurdle that a new player has to overcome is acquiring all of the weapons, and that can be done through trading for like 40 cents. Meanwhile, you have players like me who have goblin brain and won't use a weapon that they want to use unless they have a strange kill streak version of it. Don't be like me. Circling back to the community, I have a story that really encapsulates what it is in my eyes. Several years ago, I was running around on this Ocarina of Time server where I met 2 other players. We were just hanging out and exploring for about an hour or so when one of them said they wanted to trade with me. They wanted the Eliminator safeguard that I had on my heavy at the time in exchange for this spelled football helmet. Now I looked into it, and at the time that helmet was not worth anything, but he kept talking it up like it would be worth $1 million someday. I figured that he just wanted the hat that I had and decided to take the bad deal. Because it wasn't much of a loss to begin with, and hey, I could use it as a thanks for playing gift because I was having a lot of fun. The second the trade went through though, they left the server, probably maniacally rubbing their hands together like the evil geniuses they are after successfully scamming me out of 17 cents. This would normally be where this story ends, but the third guy in this situation saw everything that happened, assumed that I got scammed, and then sent me a trade offer with a new Eliminator safeguard, asking for nothing in return. It's this mix of sweet and unsavory people that will define your experience with this game. Sure, you have your occasional dickhead, but in my experience, so many players are just here to be chill and have fun, and in the case of my story, you have some that go even further beyond. Fun fact, I checked up on them after writing that paragraph and was pleased to see that they're still on my friends list after so many years. They haven't logged in a while though, but such is life, yeah? Oh, and another cool thing about the community is, for whatever reason, when God was divvying up the talent between all of us, he gave most of it to the Tf2 Youtubers. It is an anomaly, but Tf2 Youtubers, or people who used to make Tf2 content, are among some of the most hardworking, creative, and funny creators on the entire platform. Lazy Purple and Funk are tied with a few other people as my all-time favorites. Every video they make is an instant classic. Soundsmith really reignited my love for the game post Meet Your Match, and El Maxo seems to be carrying that torch nowadays. You've got Uncle Dane, Germa, those old school Muselk videos, Fawful's Minion countdowns, and SFM creators making content so premium, I can't believe they're letting me see it without buying a ticket first. I think the reason why I tried to hold myself to a high standard of quality for my videos is because all of these guys inspire me to do so. So if you're into watching YouTube videos, which come on, make sure you join this community because you will eat well until the day you die. Now I just have to find a way to watch them without being told, "Nice to meet you, I'm Natasha, an underworld doctor, feeling sick?" What the fuck is this ad? Why is it on 90% of the videos that I watch? It has been months and it is still there. Whoever is funding it, please just let it die already. Speaking of dead, this game, am I right? No, but I thought I should end this video by talking about something that everybody who makes a TF2 video has to bring up. Valve slow, don't care about game anymore. Pretty much all of the issues that have plagued this game over the last 6 years have been from Valve's desire to focus less on what makes them millions of dollars and more on what makes them billions of dollars. Bots are still an issue, MVM hasn't gotten more content in like a decade. I don't know about you, but nowadays Autobalance seems exclusively interested in moving either me or whoever I'm partied up with onto the opposite team. I don't think it's too much to ask to have my party of 3 or 4 players stay together on the same team. And of course, no major updates since 2017. That summer update is coming soon though, but don't get your hopes up, it won't be anything big, and it wasn't, but it was still really cool to see all those new maps. You know, even if you can walk into other people's spawns. They did add this seal though, he is my friend and I love him. So here's my perspective on this, I don't want to let it bother me anymore. Yes, if it was any other company, TF2 would probably be their top priority. But the thing is, any other company would have been incapable of making this game in the first place. Valve's ability to continuously discover new talent and nurture it as it's being developed is phenomenal. Scrapping and recreating several versions of the same game over the course of 9 long years, only stopping once they've successfully captured lightning in a bottle. Another dev would have just said, fuck it, this has to come out this year, we're doing the Brotherhood of Arms thing. And that game would have been objectively obliterated by the passage of time. Over the course of my 9-year journey with this game, I have felt every possible emotion one could feel towards something. I've been excited, I've been disappointed, and I've been optimistic. And unfortunately, I have been the cynical asshole teenager who spent all of his time obsessing over the negatives of the game because he thought it was cool. If I deserve to be bullied for anything I say in this video, it's that. Spouting on forums about how Valve sucks and and they don't care and how I can't trust them to do anything right, and I'm just sick of it. I've been sick of it for years now. I don't need content to be content with this wonderful game. In fact, nowadays, seeing it stay the same like this is kind of comforting in a weird way, as every other multiplayer game I play obsesses itself with the FOMO business model of battle passes and limited time events. I know things could be much better, and I'm not trying to tell you that you shouldn't care about the state of the game, but I think that based off of everything I just said in this video, the positives far outweigh the negatives. So I'd rather focus on enjoying and being grateful for what I have, rather than complaining about something I can't control. Unless the bot crisis happens again, like please, just keep the game playable and we're square, alright Valve? And I'll say it since no one really does nowadays. Thank you for making such an incredible game. This special thanks to Silent Secondary, Mr. Chocolate Salmon, and Volume Warning,
Shrouded Sun!
and the rest of my wonderful patrons.